Hello and welcome to Uncovered, the podcast with your host, Jason Irving. Join me in a journey to understand what's truly happening in your world and the world around you. This is not about how you're living life on the surface. It's about what's truly driving you from under the covers. I'm going to take you on a journey to deeply uncover the reason why you are here, the ultimate purpose in your problems and the way that they have shaped your life up until now. See, I believe you have a purpose, and your problems are the highway towards ultimate realization of that journey towards freedom and the reconnection of your true self. I've been told I have a different spin on most things, and I'll be giving you my understanding of life, love, and what we're all here for, purpose. To get the best out of this podcast, drop what you already know so you can discover what's beyond you. So join me, let's play this game of life and bring on liberation, transformation, and change. Let's do this. Okay, guys, welcome to Uncovered. Really excited here. I've got Justin here who's going to sort of have a bit of a chat about what he does. So welcome to Uncovered, mate.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, no worries. So let's dive in. What is it that you do, and what is it that you want to do that makes an impact in this world?
Look, to make an impact in the world is just be the best me I can be, I guess. So I can't really do much more than that. Like, the intent is there to, like, we all got intent, I guess, to, change the world or be known as something. I just, I've said this for many years to my kids and stuff, and when people ask, but on my tombstone, I just wanted to have he wasn't a bad bloke. So the things that I do are the things that I do. Doesn't my net worth is nothing to do with my self-worth. I've always felt that my what I do as a job really is an extension of me as a person, but doesn't define who I am. I do a lot of things. I like being busy, and I worked out a fair few years ago that this whole business thing was something I was good at, and not that it was a deliberate thing, but I figured I was good at it, so I just thought I'd just keep on doing it. And some things work, some things don't. But that's sort of life. I've never had expectations of everything I touch. It's funny, the other day, getting a bit of media attention again, and the guy goes, "I've got the Midas touch." I went, "You only know the stuff that worked. Like I don't tell anyone about the stuff that doesn't." So,
Yeah. Yeah, and you would have had situations like that, haven't you, Justin? Like all business owners do, that shit doesn't work.
no, no, it doesn't. And that's where, like, I've got certain rules that I've put in place for myself, and I think it's something that people should take on as well. But like, because I do a lot of business mentoring, and I had one this morning for the first session it was, and I had to undo all the mistakes that this lady had made because she spent over 100 and something $1,000 setting a business up, and it wasn't working. So problem with that is you got a big hole you got to dig yourself out of.
Yeah.
So for me, my first business, I started by default with $1.25 in the bank, and that worked quite well. And then my second business, I figured out, because you got to, Hansel and Gretel, they left breadcrumbs. We leave breadcrumbs. Success leaves clues, right?
Yeah.
And so my second business I started, I actually picked up some of those breadcrumbs, and that was, well, the first one by default, I started with no money. So why not start the next one with no money? Because I already know that's been done. So I've already been down that path before, so I don't need to reinvent that road, and that works. So when things don't work out for me, it doesn't matter, because it doesn't really cost me anything from a physical cost. Yes, there's time, and people get caught up on time, especially in startups. I'm spending so much time. That's the same amount of time in numbers, that whether you're doing something or whether you're not doing something, it's still there, right?
Yeah.
So I can't really put that in as an equation. So if it doesn't work, I go, "Oh, well, that didn't work," but I don't then lose the momentum with that. So I don't allow that and to sit there. And that's my conversation this morning with this unfortunate lady, that she's been dwelling on
Yeah.
stuff, and it's like, I'm teaching our youngest now. He's got her L's, which is quite scary. But like, I've taught her many times, like, if you see a pothole in the road and you look at the pothole, what you're going to end up hitting is the pothole.
Yeah.
And that's sort of what happens when people sort of have things. It's not failure, but when things don't work, they just focus on that, and then they wonder why they can't get out of their funk.
Yeah, I love that. And I think that's one of the biggest challenges in business. From the statistics I know, mental health is such a big thing, especially with men, not communicating where they get stuck and not knowing how to move through those potholes of life.
Yep.
And you have this, success leaves clues, and it doesn't matter. You're going to keep going. And I think that's a really strong model that a lot of people don't know how to do very well, Justin. Would you agree?
100%. And you got to tap into your strengths too sometimes. So like a lot of people seem to think that I've got all my shit together and I just coast through this whole success life and all that sort of stuff. But the amount of self-doubt that I go through still after 30 years being in business is constant on a daily
Yeah, yeah.
basis.
Oh,
But it's like anything, you pick up stuff and you've got stuff. It's just part of who you are. It'd be great if we we're all fantastic people, and you see people on stage, and especially on stage, and you look, they've got everything together. And like for me, it's just like it's about time we just become real,
yeah,
and just raw. So not everything I do works. Not everything that works out the way it should. Not everything. Not every day is a sunny day. Not every day is a cloudy day. Not like it is what it is, and which some people don't like that saying, but it is. I've learned. My father said weird sayings when I was growing up, and they all make sense to me now. But one of them was, "You can't unscramble eggs," and sometimes life hands you some stuff that regardless of what you'd love to happen, you can't. So you just got to make the best out of a bad situation, and just keep moving forward. Now, where people get caught up in that is they're not moving forward at the speed they were before. That's
yeah,
a little bit irrelevant, right? It's just the fact that you're moving is in the right direction is the main thing. So we all, have hiccups. And another one of my dad's sayings, which once again makes sense to me now, but he used to say, I reckon I would have been 10 or 11 around there. And he goes, there's no such thing as full stops in life, only commas.
oh, I
And
love that.
yeah, which is, you just pause. And so, if stuff's not working out for you today, and a lot of people went through this, especially in business during COVID,
Yeah,
who had a lot of success leading up to COVID. And I am generalizing here, so please don't write to the management on this next comment, but a lot of people who suffered a lot during COVID had never actually experienced it like an issue or a massive issue that was not their fault.
yeah,
And so people have been in business for a long time that like you had the GFC that they've gone through, all this other stuff they've gone through. So that not that they went through this well, but they just knew that they had to handle that. So things get thrown at us all the time. Like and the first day that what was it, a week after someone licked a bat overseas and the government here says, you're all got to shut your businesses down. That
yeah,
one day, I lost 65 speaking jobs in one day.
yeah, wow.
And my speaking fee is not low. And so on the outset, from a dollar perspective, gone.
Yeah,
But what do you do? I hate the word pivot. What I had to do was not reinvent. It's just figure out how do I make this wheel roll a little bit differently now.
yeah.
And so essentially the tire I had on it was actually shredded, and I had to fix a new tire or come up with a new temporary solution to getting my car home, which was getting my business through that process.
Yeah, I love that. And look, when that came around, a lot of people's businesses did break,
Hmm.
and the people who have that, I guess, resilience and finding a way tended to actually do quite well through that period. Like,
A lot of people found that they actually had resilience that they didn't know they had too.
yeah,
It's not until our backs are up against the wall, and there's no disrespect at all to people that didn't get through it. I mean, wasn't an easy thing to do when someone else, and I call them the third party influencer, when someone else is pulling the strings on our life and our outcome. Don't get me started on that whole conversation, but that was very unfair. That was not the right way. I think the way it was run and done in this country could have been done a lot better. There was a lot of things done to us on a constant occasion that like they kept on moving the goalposts all the
Yeah.
time. So like as business owners, we want some level, or as human beings, we want some level of consistency.
Yeah.
But when you've got numbnuts that have got no idea coming up with the rules that they have no idea about, it wasn't a fun time. So,
No.
but I think I think Australians in general are pretty well resilient in their own way.
Yeah.
Yes, there's the mental health thing, and yes, there's this whole resilience movement. But there's all these buzzwords now. I just think when shit gets thrown at you, you just got to make sure it doesn't stick for that long. That's all it is.
Mm. So maybe for you, Justin, the way that you are able to be consistent is when things break, when things don't work, you're able to be consistently in flow even when it's wrecking.
Yeah, but I think part of that, and if you ask my staff, though, I would say I created COVID because I love drama. Um, I actually thrive on drama when things
Okay.
go wrong. It actually is the thing that forces me to operate on a different level, and it's not a deliberate thing. I just figured
Yeah.
out that is the thing that works for me. When everything's going really well, I sort of get bored and I'm not that productive.
Yeah.
So I just think what we've got to try and do is probably reframe um, bad stuff or reframe when things don't work in our head. And it's just like,
Yeah.
well, that's not the way that it was going to work out in the first place, is probably what you replace it with.
Yeah.
And we're going down, like if you think about it, we're all going down a road in life, and especially in business. We've chosen the path that we want to go down. We've chosen the direction we want to go down. Sometimes you don't hit a dead end. You actually hit the end of the cul-de-sac, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
just turn around and go back to the last intersection that you came across and go in a different direction. But the secret to that whole process is speed. How
Yeah. Okay.
quickly you react and you
Yeah.
respond is really important.
I love that. And look, this is what I'm picking up from just getting a bit of a sense and a read of you. I've heard you speak, and there's something about you that holds a genius that I see from a speaker's perspective. You create, because you're able to handle drama really well, right? You're the guy that everyone's going to come
Hmm.
to create, and your piece of magic that I'm seeing right now is assurance. Your tone is so assured, even when things are going wrong. So when someone comes around to actually get support from you, it creates safety because assurance actually creates a safety for the person that they can trust you. And that's
Yeah,
what
look, and
I'm feeling with you.
it's funny because we were talking about this at home the other a couple of weeks ago. The type of client I attract, especially in my mentoring, right?
Yeah.
Now, I do get them, but I don't work with many or get approached by many that want me to help them get their business from 5 million to 10 million.
Yeah.
Now I can, and it's actually very easy, but I don't get those people. I get the people who have hit that wall. Now, the conversation I had this morning, her wall to her is my speed hump to me. Like I go,
Mm.
no brainer. But in life and in business, all you focus on is all you'll see, like the pothole,
Yeah.
right? So I love helping people like that who have got that desire and determination, not so much to make money, because making money is a byproduct of doing a good job, right? So that's not the thing. And people make it a thing. It's not the thing. It's to achieve is what they're trying to do, and achieve in the way. Now, sometimes I do need to reframe what their perception of outcome is. They're thinking, all my products, if my products are sitting in all the stores in Australia, that means that the business is good. I go, well, that's one way of looking at it. Or do you get the first 3 or 4 stores to buy it and start to get some traction there and start to understand how it works and why it works and how to make it work better in those people, and then you can control the rest of them. And if no one else buys it, but you can make those 3 stores actually order something like 9 or 10 stores in one order, then you don't need the 9 or 10 stores. You only need these 3 stores that are easy to manage. That's the thing that I love doing with people, and that's why I naturally get those people coming to me to ask me to help them. And I do. I mean, I can't take on that many people because I've got too much stuff to do. But I love helping people who have they've got the ingredients right, and it's all sitting on their table. They just don't know how to make the cake. That's the
Yeah.
only thing.
Yeah. So your job is to actually put it all together for them and help them.
Yeah, I'm not the guy. So I get people coming to me who've got the cake and just want me to put the better icing on it. I can, but that doesn't float my boat. And having another Ferrari sitting in the garage and
Interesting.
good for you, but not for me.
Yeah, I
And
love that.
so the underlying reasons as to why I enjoy my level of success is nothing to do with the monetary stuff.
Hello.
Yeah, it's got to do with and then like you're on my social, so you'll understand this. Like you won't see any of my stuff. Like you won't see anything that I've got from a human perspective that Justin Herald is, because it's no one's business, right? My success has got nothing to do with anyone else, right? It's only got to do with me, and it's something that I really want people to understand. Choose your path, and your path, if you're happy with it, that's it. Like, do not think about other people and impressing other people, because there's some people you could give them $1 million, they'll complain it's too heavy to carry home. So no matter what you do, it's never going to impress them. But I don't care what people think of me in a good or a bad way. It's none of my business what people think of me. So and I do get, like, if people say negative stuff about me, it does affect me, don't get me wrong with that, but I don't do what I do for other people's edification, because I don't know them, and as long as my wife likes me, I'm pretty happy camper.
Yeah, I love that. And I think that's really, really important because I see this a lot on socials and I'm the same. I don't, I, and I've spoken to people who are extremely wealthy and they've said the same thing to me, Justin, do not sprout and share all the things that you own. Focus on the help that you give and everything will work out
Yeah,
fine. Because
yeah.
I think showing off, I can't. I watched a really good person turn into a dick recently, and now he's
Hmm.
got his Ferrari. He's showing his Ferrari in his house, and he was a really nice guy until he started spruiking arrogance through his socials, and I was like, oh no, another one.
Yeah, a
So
lot of people wear their wealth, and good on it. Like if that's you, wackadoo for you. But it's horses for courses. Like I was I was happy when I had $1.25 in the bank. I
hmm,
wasn't unhappy. I'm happier now, and truth be told, it's a lot nicer when you've got choice. But the thing I don't do is I don't throw that in people's faces, because I've never forgotten where I've come from. Never will. And that's why I do like helping people who, and this is not a spiel at all, because I don't flog anything that I do, but my mentoring prices are totally different to everyone else's coaching prices, and that's deliberate.
yeah,
And it's to make sure, well, one of them is to upset a particular coaching company that rips people off. That's the main reason I do it. But it's also just to make sure it's attainable for people to get proper information that's actually been proven as opposed to learnt.
yeah, I love that, and I think this is one of the things that I love about you, Justin, is that because my mum came from nothing. And when you build something from nothing, you can do two choices. You can be an idiot,
Mm-hmm.
or you can actually really look after the people who are feeling like they've got nothing and help build them to
Yeah.
attainability and do what I call purposing your problems. You had your $1.25 and now you've got more than that, and you're helping people and you haven't forgotten the $1.25 people.
No, not at all. And just it's about, like, hope's a wonderful thing, but I think people hope in hope. Um, but as long as you've got the desire to change, and it's not about changing who you are as an individual. Like it's something that my wife, in a nice way, gets ticked off with me all the time. We go out for dinner, like we went out for lunch last Sunday as a family. Well, we've got five daughters, but two of the daughters that live with us, and I'm in my board shorts. I'm in my thongs and in my t-shirt going up to Broadbeach, was where we live, and they're all dressed up to the. Oh, that's who I am. Like,
Mm.
she just would love me to wear shoes one day, and but for me, I get on stage and I'm as dressed up as I can be, still with my Converses on, but I don't change. But the clothes don't make it the man. It is like, even black tie events. When I do speak at the corporate gigs, they always say to me, Justin, we don't expect you to turn up in black tie. But it's not my style. It's
Yeah.
just who I am, and if people don't like it, then it's up your jumper. I don't really care. But I'm not here to impress people. I'm glad that people do follow me. I'm glad that people have bought my books. I'm glad that people, are attracted to what I say. But it's not the thing that gets me out of bed every morning, waiting for people to send me an email telling me how unreal I am.
Yeah. So tell me, what is that big thing that really gets you up during the day? Is it your family? Is it like helping people? What
Oh
makes
no, it's
your
almost my
heart beat?
family, but it's also to try and push further than I did the day before. I don't have a 5-year plan. I've never had a 5-year plan. I don't have a 1-year plan. I don't have a 1-month plan. It irks my accountants no end. I have a 1-day plan, and that plan is to do a little bit better than I did yesterday.
Love
You got
that.
to make your goals. You got to make them achievable and real. Having your Ferrari at the end of your first 6 months of starting a business, not really going to happen. If it does, and you do go buy your Ferrari, you're going to go broke within about 2 years, just letting you know. So for me, it's not that sort of stuff. It is just trying to achieve more. Like I've launched, as you know, I've launched a software company. Now I couldn't spell IT before I started this thing. So,
Yeah.
I've launched a software company. I've got very smart people around me. Now I had no clue about the mechanics of all of that. But I don't let that stop me either. I know what I want to achieve with the system. I know how the system should work. I don't know how the little bits work in the middle. I don't let that part worry me. And that's the client I had yesterday, was caught up in that part of not knowing. Some things you don't need to know. You just need to be able to control the people that need to know.
Yeah.
And so when you figure out those little secrets along the way, things won't stop you from achieving what you want to achieve.
Yeah. So would you like your capacity to find the right people? Is that something you're really good at to actually give you the hand that you need? Like have
I
you
am.
been good or shit at that?
No, I'm good at it because I have a very good bullshit meter.
Yeah.
Um, very good. And I actually have never employed, besides the now the developers and the people who've got doing all the coding garbage. Obviously, they've got to have a skill set, which I don't even know what the code is. So I've got someone else that understands that. But I have never, up until then, I've never looked at a resume in my entire 30 years of employing people. Because realistically, as if you're going to say, I really suck at customer service, right? So you're not going to put on there the stuff you suck at. You're just going to tell me what you think I need to know. But I am going to hire off personality.
Yeah.
And because I can teach you the skill stuff, I just got to make sure you've got the personality that fits our business, number one, and values. So you've got the same values. So if you, and most of my employees right at the start would have been, were actually, not would have been, were people no one else would employ. But I was that guy once. So, and look what I ended up doing with this, backing myself. Now all I'm trying to do is back other people for them to excel into areas that they've got no clue. Like if I look at my first employee, my secretary, she wanted to be called an executive assistant. I said, well, when you find an executive, by all means, call yourself that one. But so she was my secretary. And the first day she was 17, came to me and she said, oh, what's my role? On my job description, sorry. And I said, well, your job description is to help me run the business. And she said, I'm 17, I've got no idea. I said, I'm 25 and I've got no idea. So let's give this a crack. Now, if you ask anyone inside my business if Justin says something needs to be done, and who would be the person that we'd all listen to, it would not be the general manager, it would not be the marketing manager, it would not be the CEO, it would be my PA, because she had that and she took that opportunity given to her on a platter with no idea how to do it. She grabbed it and ran with it, but she did it her way, not my
Yeah.
way.
I love
And
that.
and this is where, like, a lot of us, and nearly everyone has got that skill in you somewhere. Your job is to unlock it. Like when I was approached, when was it, 2004, to write a book by the publisher, and I said, look, I couldn't read or write when I left school properly, and I said, well, I can't do that. And they said, well, go give it a shot. 3 weeks later, I went back there and said, I've done, and I gave them, it was in a big folder. I said, I've done it. They said, oh, is that your first chapter? I said, no, this is my book. And they said, how many words is it? Like 15,000? I said, no, that's 58,000 words. They said, it takes people about a year to write a book. And I said, well, you could have told me that 3 weeks ago. I would have taken a year. But because they haven't told me that, and because I didn't know, I wasn't constrained by all these things
By the
and
rules.
rules and stuff that have been put in front of me. And I think that's part of the stuff. I think the unfortunate, I talk a lot, by the way, but I think the unfortunate part of today's society compared to when I started Attitude, which was in 1995, we didn't have the internet, right? So we didn't have all this white noise of a whole heap of experts out there telling us how things should be done, what should be done, all these influences, which realistically influence nothing, but all these influences telling us what to do, what not to do. We just had to back ourselves. Now we go to the pole of numbnuts all over the internet to not even get advice of what we're trying to achieve, but just in our head look at what they're saying and then attach what they're saying online to our dream. And you go, how dumb's that? That's sort of like plugging a Lego piece into a house and going, oh, this might hold at some point in time. So this is where I think either I do believe you've got to get advice, but get it from people who have actually walked down the road you're trying to walk down, because you're going to learn from the mistakes that they made before you make them yourself. But you also back yourself, make some mistakes. And because when you make your mistake, that that's the road that is actually the dead end. So just close that sucker off.
So I'm hearing some really cool shit from you, dude. Right? The thing I'm picking around this is like this is what I'm getting about how your staff get so much support from you, Justin. Your belief in them to create their unique ability, to give them the empowerment to do it their way is very, very abnormal, right? You are not doing the normal structure of what a helicopter business owner who's so attached to their thing. You're doing, hey, you've got this. You go and do it your way, and let's figure it out together and make it amazing. That's what
I
I
think,
just.
yeah, I think you're right, but it's not a deliberate thing. Like, well, it is, but it's not
I think it
in that
is.
way, right? So the reason I do that, and it's aimed at me more so than it is them. So before I started Attitude, I had a lot of jobs, so I just couldn't figure out where I fitted, and I was very good at them, and I'd grow those businesses as an employee, but I was sick and tired of the manager, the owner, the whoever taking the ownership over what I've done and claiming it as their own.
Yeah.
So that really always shitted me a little bit. But the old school Justin, which is still the new school Justin, is if I'm going to give you a job, the reason I've given you a job is because I believe you can do it. Now, if I've got to then monitor how you're doing it, then you shouldn't have got the freaking job in the first place, right? So I don't get many people ringing me up, employees going, oh, what do you think I should do? They know if they ring up. Like, I'll give you the best example of this, right? So the other day I was in Coles and walking down, and I'm one of those weird people. I love doing the ironing at home, and I love going to do the grocery shopping for my wife so she can stay at home, so she can work in her business, or she can lie on the lounge in the afternoon and watch TV. I don't care. I just love doing all the mundane shit to make her. She's my queen, so that's the way I just run my family life. But so going down the Coles on. And here's this 2 or so-year-old chucking an absolute tantrum on the floor in front of his mother. And I'm watching the mother trying to tempt him with gifts and tempt him with lollies and tempt him with this. And then she goes, if I've got to count, and she goes 1, 2, 2.5, 2 and 3. No one ever gets to 3, by the way. But 2, like they're going through this. Like my kids know if I've got to bloody well count, there's a problem, right? And I'm the same with staff. Like I've given you the role. Do the role. Now you can screw it up. That is fine as long as you gave it the right real crack. If you screw it up because you couldn't be stuffed, then I've got a problem. And I think it's for me, I always wanted someone to give me ownership, and I'm going to give the same thing to you because I'm a control freak in my own way, but not in the way that you do it, because I've got to figure out, because you're like the secret to anyone that owns a business here, the secret to growing a business successfully is doing it through your personality. First and foremost, right? So my personality is, I didn't call it Attitude for no reason, my business. I'm a fairly well in-your-face bloke, right? In a nice way, but there's no walking away from any conversation with me going, wonder what Justin really thinks. Like, you'll know, right? You just know. And it's not that I'm trying to be a smart ass or a hard ass. It's just, I don't know. Words are one of those things that you can actually shorten the amount of words you use on a daily basis and still have the same impact. And so I think all I'm doing is giving people that level of ownership, and you either take it or you don't take it. If you don't take it, I'll give it to someone else who would love to take it. Hence why then the degrees and how many degrees, some people got more degrees than thermometer, but are totally useless in actual proper life, right? So I don't care what your outcome from an education perspective is. It's irrelevant. It's how much ticker and how much drive you got.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And look, for you, you've got this amazing, let's talk about that software
Hmm.
product. I've got it. Um, and just in the process of starting to get used to using it after doing it my really funky, shitty way, right? And your product and the way that you do it is so simple. It's something that you're actually building connections and bridges for people to actually appreciate what you do, and it's phenomenal. Like the product's called Refer Us, listeners. Can you tell us about, what made you build that product, or what was it in you that decided I want to do something that no one else is doing, well?
Yeah, well, look, for me, it comes back to the common sense is not common anymore. But I'm watching people in business now, especially in the last 5 years, trying to grow their business and getting caught up in the way that other people are doing, or getting caught up in the way that they're told to go and do it. Let's go and market more. Let's go and spend more money on here. Let's go and do that. Let's go and do, TikTok and dance like an idiot, and people are going to follow my business. All this stuff, and you go, seriously, can you guys just get a grip? So the easiest way and the most effective way to grow a business is through word of mouth. Now,
Yeah.
if people aren't talking about your business right now, then there's your problem. Regardless of how much you're advertising, mate, let me just shut this lawnmower man. You've just probably seen my board shorts. I'm still in my board shorts. So the most effective way to grow a business is word of mouth, and people are already talking about your business. But the normal way of referral and word of mouth, it's broken, and it always has been broken, but no one's figured it out. So I'm sitting at the barbecue and someone says to me, "Oh, do you know a good accountant?" I go, "Yeah, I've got a really good one. When I get home, I'll send you all of their details." That's the way it normally works. I keep eating at the barbecue. I get home, I'll totally forget that conversation. And maybe in 2 or 3 days, I'll remember it, and then I'll send you through the accountant's details. Problem with that whole process, which I've always seen, is the accountant has no idea I've just spoken about them when I've spoken about them. So they're the person that I'm trying to give the business to, and someone needs that referral, has no clue that that's happened. And I wanted to interrupt that. So now we're sitting at the same barbecue, and if you've got Refer Us, it sits on your referrers' phones. It's not an app; you won't find it in the app store. It's a web app. So I'm sitting at the barbecue, and someone says, "Oh, I need a new account." I go, "Look, I've got one." I go to my web app, I click the icon of Refer Us, I find the account, and I put their phone number, name, and email address into the system, and press send. I'm done. It's 10 seconds for one of your customers to send you a hot lead. The accountant instantly gets that customer's details or client's details, and at the same time, and here's the clincher, the person I'm referring gets the business's details. So now there's this two-way street that there's no business ringing up going, "I hear you're interested in an accountant." They go, "Oh, I've got no idea what you're talking about." They know exactly what's going on. The referrer is out of the equation. The referrer can track what the business is doing with that referral, because I think that's a really important part of the process, to make sure that if you got your customers sending you business, make sure that you look after those people. You reward the people that are referring for you if they send you business. And now you've turned your salespeople, your customers and clients into salespeople. They already want to help you grow your business. The reason that most of your customers and clients are not referring for you, it's pretty simple, dumb, but pretty simple. You haven't asked them to. That's what it is. Or you've made the process very difficult. Please go to our website, go to this page, fill out this form, send it, and then it comes to us. Problem with that, I've got to remember what your website is. I've got to remember where the page is on your website. So nothing's been made easy for me. And then the main reason I wanted to create this, there's a market out there. And if any small business owners listening to this, I need you to understand this, and it won't make sense at the time. But there's a market out there that you never go after. And I've always gone after this market, but it makes sense why you haven't. And that is the market that will never buy from you. You need to market to those people. And people go, why would I do that? They're never going to buy from me. No, they won't. But they know people who will. And they're the ones. So most of my referrals that I get, especially through Refer Us, are from people who have never heard me speak. But the reason they do refer me is because they've seen what other people say about what when I speak and what the outcome was. And when someone says, "Do you know a good keynote speaker?" They go, "Look, I've heard of this bloke. Apparently, he's great," and they refer me. So there's a lot of people out there that will refer your business that have never used you, probably never will use you. And that's why I wanted to create a way that people could actually become a referrer for any business in any area in their local area, just to solve their friend's need. So people are going to refer mainly on trust, and they're going to refer mainly on feelings, how you make them feel.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and so that sort of approach as well, there's like, statistically, people are 300% more likely to buy from a referrer than a cold outreach.
Yep.
So it's just so much more likelihood that the sale is going to go through. And my whole business, I was a therapist, and no advertising worked for me, Justin. And I didn't actually even, everyone just went in spades and said, go and see that guy. I don't know what he does, but he'll fix it. So my whole business when I was a therapist was no advertising. I
Yeah.
was out 8 weeks in advance through people just saying, go and see that guy. He's ridiculously good. I have no idea what he does, but he'll fix whatever's wrong with you.
Yeah.
That was what I got, right? And it was so good because I didn't have to pay for any advertising ever.
Yeah, well, this is an extension of when I started my first business, and I had no money. I had no money for marketing. I had no money for whatever. And we started in a place called Parkley Markets in Sydney. And I coined a phrase back then, which was great at the time, but makes more sense now. And that is, we go after our customer's customer. And that's how I've always done business. Like up until last week with Refer Us, because we've gone global with it, it's the first time in 31 years that I've spent money on advertising,
Mm.
because we go after our customer's customer. I do my speaking jobs every time I speak on stuff. Like I spoke yesterday morning. I've already got 3 speaking jobs from yesterday morning. So if you do a good enough job, people are going to either book you, buy from you, or tell people about you. So just do a good job, but then make the process of that happening. All I'm doing is facilitating an already existing process.
Yeah.
People are already referring for your business. You just don't know it and you can't track it. It's not expensive. Sorry to do the sales, but it's $375 a year. I've deliberately made it extremely affordable for any business to use. Worst case scenario, one referral a year is going to pay for your system. This is me giving it back to a business. People go, what do you do for free? Well, got this weird thing called eating I'd like to still do. So I've made it so it's a no-brainer price. There's no extra cost. It's $375. You can get as many referrals as you want, and it actually works. My wife sent out to. She's got a massive database for her day spa and beauty spa. A part of her database, she sent out the invitation. It's got 457 referrers. There's 457 people. Not every week are sending through a referral. Don't get caught up on that one. But she's top of mind. So when someone says, I need to find a good day spa, them being able to access the ability to send her a referral is so much easier now than I'll wait until I get home and send you all the details.
Yeah, I love that. That is so, so good. And it's so good because you've made something that's easy for people to attain.
Hmm.
And $375 listeners, you need to get this product. It's actually so simple from a client perspective to use because I have it. It's simple, right? I just had someone mention to me, hey, I want to, it was the old clunky way, the stupid way. Someone said, hey, how do I get in touch with get someone in touch with you? And I said, yeah, here's how you do it now.
Hmm.
So I'm just, giving people the refer us model as opposed to here's my phone number,
Yeah.
right? So it's just doing it in another way. Now I've got another one last question to ask you, Justin, which you referred to earlier, which is success leaves clues.
Hmm.
Can you give the listeners a little bit of a clue about something really important around, what is it about creating success? Like one piece that you think would be really digestible for everyone today?
Oh, look, I think people get caught up a little bit on having to reinvent the wheel all the time,
Yeah.
or when things aren't working, they go, "Oh, there's got to be a different way that I've got to do it." But there's not so much a different way; it's just the way you're doing it now is probably not apt, right? So if I look at prior to COVID, how I would get business, or especially the speaking, so because I do 100 speaking jobs a year, right? So they were just flowing in all the time. And then COVID hit. And so what you've got to do is also, I was speaking about this yesterday at the conference, but there's these restaurants that they give you a deconstructed meal. I think it's the stupidest thing you could ever pay for, to be really honest. But there's a deconstructed meal where they've pulled all the bits apart and they're all separate on the plate. You put them all together and eat it. That's what we're going to do in business, right? We're going to do the same thing but we're going to deconstruct it a little bit. So if things were working before and all of a sudden they stop working the same way, deconstruct it. It's not so business was going well for me before COVID. COVID hit. And then by deconstructing, you're going to see why I had an issue, and that what happened to me and every other speaker, as soon as COVID hit, everything was done as a Zoom, right? So that being the case, then people go, I've got a Zoom, so I can become a speaker. So now the market was flooded, not with people who had the skill set, but just people who said they were a speaker and were putting themselves out there. So then it became an issue with my fee, but then companies were saying, well, we can get a guy do it for 10% of your fee. And I'm going, well, get the bloke for 10% if you want to do that. But I guarantee you'll come back to me at some other point in time. So the market changed. Nothing to do with with me, nothing to do with my skill set, nothing to do with anything. But I had to handle the problem. The problem was handed to me on a plate, right? So what I then had to do is go, okay, well, how do I now differentiate myself? My plate is still the same. The deconstructed, if you look at it all together, is all the same. But I've now got to focus on certain different areas of that business now instead of the whole thing. So one of the things I did, which really upset my speaking bureaus, I didn't do Zooms. I said, I'm not going to do a Zoom at all. I'm just going to take myself out of the equation, let those people go and do what they're going to do. Good on them for that. But I guarantee you when this thing's over, all these companies that have had all these people who don't really know what they're talking about will want to get people in to now resolve the problems that's now been created. And that's what happens. So sometimes you've got to step back and look at things from above. Other times you've got to go, some things aren't working. You don't throw the baby out with the bathwater on this one either. So not the whole business is not working. It's parts of that business is not working. Yep. Your job, and yes, it's a time thing, but your job is to find which part is not working and just make a few little adjustments. But look, the thing is for me, you got to have fun. Things are going to go up, things are going to go down, things are going to be thrown at you from the side. You're going to have people rip you off. You're going to have people lie to you. You're going to have people be nice to you. You're going to have people help you. You're going to have people try and take things away from you. That's just the nature of what it is. But You've just got to enjoy that ride. And it's like a roller coaster. Some things are great, and most of the time it's really scary.
Yeah, I love that. And I think that's a really honest appraisal of it. And the thing that I see with you, Justin, and you've got that no bullshit approach. You also have a bucket load of courage, right?
I don't know. I'm just giving it a crack, mate. I'm very comfortable in who I am now, which a lot of the stuff, is weird. Not from my parents ever, but the stuff I get away with now is the stuff I used to get in trouble for when I was a kid, which is having an opinion, which is, not taking no for an answer and all this sort of stuff. So I think sometimes we've just got to allow some of the stuff that's been said to us in the negative way just to fall away and don't have to believe it all. And, some of the stuff they said when I was younger was right, but not all of it.
Yeah, but the thing is, Justin, in a world right now where everyone is getting offended, right, by the very littlest of things, you have stood your ground and said, I'm going to be me, and if I offend people, I do, and if I don't, I don't. I can still say what I want to say, which is actually, again, a very unique way of approach.
Yeah, well, I think I'm getting old now, but the thing for me, offence is not mine. The offence is someone else's taken. So I can't really take ownership of someone else getting upset about something that was not even intended. And so, look, I spoke recently, before I spoke, it was and I love speaking at women business networking things, not because there are all women there, but I just love speaking in front of, I'm surrounded by females all the time. So, but I just like speaking to women. And before I got up, the lady said to me, she goes, "Oh, look, just make sure there's no sexism going on." I said, "Listen, there won't be. I can guarantee you 100%. She goes, "Oh, some of the stuff that I've heard you say it's pretty out there." And I went, "No, you not me." She goes, "Oh yeah, you talk about this lady that was nasty, and that's why you started your the first business." And I said, "Yes." She goes, "Yes, yeah, it's sexist." I said, "No, it's factual. She was a lady. She was nasty, and that's why I started my business." So I said, "I'm not going to get caught up in your BS, but I'm going to still tell that story because that's the factual part." And I think as older Australians, anyone that's sort of over 35 needs to start standing up to this bullshit to go, you know what, what we are is what we are. And oh, look, I could get out of bed and offend someone without even meaning to. So I'm getting a bit over that sort of weird way that we're just trying to become a victim in life now. I just don't play that game. I've got a lot that I could whinge about from everything that's happened to me over the years, but just another scar.
Yeah. Well, that's a great way and a great attitude, mate, because a lot of people, you know, do get offended so easily, and and you have to have, I can see you've said, you're very sensitive, but you're also very sensible.
Yeah, look, I am what I am. I
Yeah.
can't, how people perceive that, like, I can't do anything about that. Like, there's some people that just don't like me. There's people that don't like me that have never met me.
Yeah.
And I get every now and again, I get people going, "Oh, I've heard," like someone say, told me that. I go, "I've never even met that person." So that's their perception. Look, what can you do? In the like, I was saying this to one of my daughters the other day because she had something said to her about her online, and it was just a nasty thing and weird. And I said, "Listen, I've written 8 books. I've sold millions around the world. I've had hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people email me. One person has sent me something that was not nice out of that entire 8 books. I can nearly give you word for word exactly what that one person said because it just went in here." I said,
Yeah.
we gravitate towards the negative and we give it too
Yeah.
much space, and so it's just part. And I that's the thing I have to struggle with on a daily basis, to not let that bullshit in. Because even from this, I'll get every time I do a podcast, someone will come and go, "Well, either you're up yourself or you think you're better than anyone else." Like, that's not the intent that I've got. And I've now got to the point, well, if that's what you got from that, then whack it there for you. But
Really?
there's just some people out there that are just nasty people who just want to pull everyone down to make themselves look better. And if I've offended anyone here, I do apologise. Was not my intent, but if that's an offence, well, looks like I did a good job. Don't know.
Well, look, the thing that I'm going to give you some feedback about what I do, because I quite often tell people the truth, and that actually offends people.
Hmm.
Right? And I think what you do, which I really love about you, and that's what I loved about you when you were talking on stage at an event I'm showing up to next week, that your communication was so honest, real, and raw that I felt like I felt home, because
Yep.
that's what I do. I piss people off because I tell them stuff that they may not want to hear, right? To help people change. And that's the honest truth. Gets you either a breakthrough or gives people the one finger salute at you.
Yeah.
And so I really admire you, mate, and I'm really grateful that you've given my listeners a chance to hear what you've got to say and what you do. So in the show notes, you'll get the opportunity to get Justin's details, his Refer Us amazing app. Make sure you get it; it's phenomenal, and keep in touch with this guy because he's real, honest, and raw. And I would suggest that's what we need in this world right now. We
Hmm.
really, we
Thanks,
really
mate.
need more people like you to cut the bullshit and say the real stuff and not worry about the offense that's going to get taken. So thank you so much for joining Uncovered.
No problem, mate.
I
Thank you.
really
Thanks for
appreciate
having
it.
me.
Absolute pleasure.
Hey, thanks so much for listening to our podcast. We'd love it if you could like and share it with your friends. Our website address is www.wellnessbreakthroughacademy.com. We also have all of the videos on YouTube under Wellness Breakthrough Academy as well. We also do small courses, live events. I have an amazing book called From Broken to Breakthrough. We'd love the opportunity to give you a hand to help you live your purpose, to find out what you're here for, to give you the direction. Our courses are amazing and we do everything really, really differently for what's happening in the world at the moment. So come and find out how we can help you break your limitations so you can live the life of your dreams. We'll chat soon.